Hi. Welcome to Jeffida International, and this is the channel where we try to share knowledge with you. We call it Let's Start Thinking. Why do we need to think? We need to think because for centuries we have been misled. For centuries we stopped thinking. And where has it ended up? We're still nowhere because we don't think, so we can contribute, we can be ourselves. We are now like tools in the hands of people. So it is time we start thinking. My name is Joy Fido and welcome on board. So what's today's title? Today's title is They Are Lying to Us. They are lying to us. Why have I come up with that? And who are these they? Like I said, for centuries we've been misled. We've been made to feel small. We've been made to feel inferior. We've been made to feel out of place. So we need to wake up and get out of this scenario. So who are these people that have been lying to us? There are quite a few of them. I like to call them, in a way I call them instruments of propaganda. Why? Because this thing tends to just carry on for generations. How long ago was slavery? I know there's a video on YouTube called 400 Years Without a Comb. 400 Years Without a Comb. And that video told the story about slavery. But I know that since then, it's definitely more than 400 years. So why then have we not woken up from that slavery mentality? Why are we still here? That's a question I ask all the time. Why are we still in this position where nothing new is happening to us, especially us black people, especially us Africans? There's an article I saw recently online, somehow somebody sent it to me, called The New Colonialism, and is from a man called Mark Curtis. He was doing this project with a group called War on Want. So you know how the whole world pretends about, we are concerned about poverty and we want to eradicate poverty and blah blah blah. No, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. That's why they are lying to us. The truth is they're actually perpetuating poverty. They want poverty to stay as it is because the more poverty they create, the richer they get. And that's why, it got to a point they said the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. If there was ever, there was an event I went to once, and it was like, if the world wealth was shared equally, everybody would become a millionaire. Everybody would be a millionaire. But no, that's not the situation we want to be in. The rich just want that big gap. You know how you get into a plane and then you hear people go, first class, business class, and economy? That's the situation the world likes. The world likes a situation where there is this difference between us and them. We are the rich ones, they are the poor ones. It's about superiority and inferiority. I'm better off. And I tell you, even the most ordinary people still want to go, I wear designer clothes. I don't wear ordinary clothes. Do you see the label on my clothes? So it's just an ego thing. It's an ego thing. People want to just continue to create that divide. I watched something once on LinkedIn, and this is the owner of Microsoft, Bill Gates, Belinda, the wife, and she's going on about how they are supporting so much charity in Africa. And I quietly wrote, I don't think so. Because this poverty, all this charity you're sending, Africa does not need charity. What Africa needs is know-how. Because this document I'm talking about, this man, McCurtis, thanks to him, I'm glad he wrote this thing, is exposing the fact that over 10 businesses here in the UK is drilling. And he explains it very detailed. If you want this document, please email me. I think our email is usually on our videos. Joy, you can send to joyfido@googlemail.com or hotmail.com. Those come straight to me. So he explains that 10 countries in the UK are drilling so much natural resources from Africa. It says controlling African resources. These companies, British-owned companies, are taking everything they can from Africa. He named all of them. He quoted the amount of money they are making, trillions of dollars. But he explains what these things are: gold, platinum, diamond, coal, oil, and so many other resources. And then you're telling me that Africa needs handout? You're taking trillions from this continent, but you're sending handout to that continent? Does that make sense? That's why I'm asking us to start thinking. Let's start thinking. It makes no sense for a continent that is so wealthy, that is so naturally blessed, to be cap in hand begging for charity. And then you are happily sitting on this high chair and you're telling Africans, I am sending charity to Africa. I am the richest man in the world, but I'm sending charity to Africa. We know the truth. You are not sending no charity to Africa. You are coming to Africa to take away from Africa. But the propaganda you want to instill onto the world is Africa is so poor. How can we be so poor and you can siphon so much wealth from that continent? Because you don't want to teach us anything. You want us to remain in this ignorance, so that when you bring your 10p, 10 pence, we will be so happy to get it, and then we'll be blessing you and thanking you that you've been so kind to us, because we don't know that you have been siphoning trillions. This is what Ken Saro-Wiwa was killed for. He is from my community, because Ken Saro-Wiwa exposed what Shell was doing to Ogoniland. Shell was taking billions from Ogoniland, drilling the oil in Ogoniland, exporting it, and going to mine it and process it and send it back to Nigeria or Africa in some. Then we are paying ridiculous money for it, but they are taking it free from our land. You see how unfair the world is? They take the oil free from us. They don't even put a hospital. They don't even put roads. Now they're killing my people. Ogoni people are being killed as we speak. Ogoni is in military control, because they've created so much enmity within the community. My people are being assassinated constantly because of the oil in our land. And then you turn around and you say you're sending me charity. Let's start thinking. Because these people don't care about anyone. All they care about is the wealth and the money they can put in their bank accounts. So what I'm saying to you is, all they're doing is lying. They're lying to us. We need to wake up and think. Who are these enemies? I call them enemies of the people. I call them enemies of progress. These enemies, I'll take them one by one. There are 4 major ones I can name to you right now. Number 1 enemy is religion. Religion is number 1 enemy to us black people, to us Africans. Why is religion such an enemy? Because they clean out our head. They lie to us and they tell us the Bible said, the Bible said. You know what they do? They quote the Bible to suit themselves. These fake churches. I call them fake churches because these people come, they take from even the poorest of poor, the little widow's mite these people have. They sleep in church. They will claim prayer warriors. I don't see anywhere where God said, sleep in church and pray all day, all night. God never said that in the Bible. Go and read your Bible properly. Because they are lying to you. Because they think you cannot read. That's why they stand in that pulpit and they lie with their mouth. They tell you, bring your tithe, bring your tithe. Catholic Church is the richest church. They don't force anyone to bring tithe. Where did they get their money from? Because they are accountable to all their money. These churches which I find right now in Nigeria, in Africa, there are more churches than businesses. Have they turned God's work into a business? More churches than businesses. Who needs all these churches? Why can't we have a few churches? That when we come, religion is not spirituality. Your connection to God has nothing to do with sitting in that church and singing and then you go home and you have wicked heart towards your people. And you go and kill your neighbor. God said we should love our neighbor as ourselves. But you find that we do not even want to see our sister. Same mother, same father, you do not want to see. What is causing that? Hatred, envy, jealousy, wickedness. And then you tell yourself you go to church. You go to church on Sunday, you sing, you give the biggest tithe, you go home, you're wicked. You don't want to see your own blood sister. Not to talk about your friends. Not to talk about your neighbors in the community. That's not what God said. So we need to give this religion thing another thinking. We need to start thinking. It is not helping us. Because all these churches in our community has not made us a better people. We're still so way behind in the sense of thinking. We're still so way behind in the sense of contributing to our community. We're still so way behind in empowering our people. We're still so way behind in creating employment, creating jobs for our children. Our community needs homes. Our community needs services. Our community needs products. Our community needs ideas. Our community needs knowledge. How many of these churches are teaching skills? Which is what God said He will help those who help themselves. How many of these churches are teaching that? Give your children skills that will help them create their own job. I was watching a video the other day somebody sent to me, and Kiyosaki, he wrote this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he was explaining that what's happening with us, normal, ordinary people, poor people, is we just sit there and wait to be given something. We just wait to be given something. We don't think we should give. Do you see the difference? We wait, arms open, please give me. But we don't think. We should be the one given. And he explained, he said, rich people give, poor people receive. Wow. It made me think. What does it mean rich people give and poor people receive? Hear this. Exactly the same thing Belinda, whatever their name is, Microsoft was talking about. Belinda Gates. We're giving charity. Did you hear that? We are given charity. Giving. So who is receiving this gift? Poor people. How does it happen? Rich people look for things to do. Rich people look for ideas to give. Rich people look for products to sell. Rich people look for services to give you. Rich people look for, they're always looking for something. Innovation, right? Invention. So they're thinking. That's why I said, let's start thinking. They're thinking, they look at you, they go, oh, I know they need that. They go and bring it and they give you. So you see how it works? Rich people give. Then we don't know anything going on, we receive. And that's why you see all these people who go, I only wear designer. Think about it. Do you see Mr. Designer looking for you to take something from you? No, Mr. Designer is given to you. Rich people give. So we need to think. So he said, when rich people give, poor people receive. So the man who was interviewing him said, but normally they say, teach a man to fish and he feeds for life. Give a man fish and he feeds today. He said, no. It's gone past give a man fish and he feeds today. That what poor people are doing now is if you give him fish, he will ask for more. I was like, wow. It made me think. And that is very true. Because I know so many people. There was a lady who also went on Facebook ranting and raving and moaning about how all her relatives back home, whenever she sends things to them, they ask for more and they ask for more. It's like Oliver Twist, who's never satisfied. Give me more, give me more. They will never be content with whatever she sent. They want to, can you send more? Can you send more? So that's what Mr. Kiyosaki is saying there. He said, you give them fish, they want more fish. So this man who's running this church, instead of him to support, expand our minds, give our people knowledge so they can grow, no, he's busy taking from them, taking their little money and then making them dependent on him, such that, oh, pastor, please come and pray for me. Come and pray for me. Because you cannot pray yourself. Because you think God is far away from you, that is only through this crazy user pastor. We all have access to God. When Jesus died on the cross, he said to us clearly, he's left us with the Holy Spirit. So all of us have Holy Spirit in us. You don't need Mr. Pastor to pray for you. Mr. Pastor does not know your thoughts. He does not know your needs. He does not know your experiences. You may go to church and say, okay, I just want to get even more knowledge about God. Not because when he prays, God hears. This is what they are using to mess you up. Because I've seen videos where people say, the more money you put, the more God will bless you. What are you talking about? God does not need your money. Jesus never asked anybody for money when he did all the miracles he did on this earth. Jesus is our Savior. He gave his life for us. He did not ask us for money to die for us. Imagine these pastors, would they die for you? They would take everything you have, but would they die for you? Even the schools that they've gone using your money to set up, can your children go to that school? the type of school fees they charge, let's start thinking. They're using you. They are lying to you. That's the message I want to share with you. They are lying to you. You need to start thinking. You need to start questioning more. So the next set of people that are using us and lying to us are the government. The government in any country lies. Because what they want to do, they create again the same, this is us, this is them. They create rules and regulations, legislation that will not benefit the masses. It's never in your interest, whatever laws the government come up with. And that's why you hear in so many countries in the world, there's always protests going on. And in some countries, their citizens are so strong, they overpower their governments. But in some countries, they are so stupid, and like we are in Nigeria, and we're constantly being misled by one government onto another. There's a video I've been watching. This man is explaining the history of what happened in Nigeria, how Nigeria was put together, how the British came and just banged on different cultures and left us in disarray, because they know that, you know how they say it, a house divided upon itself. You know, when you're not in agreement with each other. That's why Nigeria is so confused. And then you hear the North saying we have to be in power all the time. And then they say, oh, but the Yorubas are so educated. And they say, but the Igbos have so much business. And so everyone is just fighting. And they've left the country in complete disarray. No development, nothing happening. The same us Nigerians hop into the plane, we'll go to countries like Dubai, like Qatar. We visit everywhere in the world. Our so-called leaders will take all the money and put in their Swiss bank accounts, the same money that they will go cap in hand begging from the West as loans. Because all the money they supposedly make from the oil export never come back. So it's like there's so much going on. And then they turn around and they lie to the people. I mean, a country like Nigeria, you don't want to know how educated the people are. School education, academic education, that's what I'm talking about. They are educated, PhDs, professors, you name it. But we can't even help ourselves. We can't even innovate the listing. There's so much insecurity that everyone wants to grab from the next person. Everyone in any little position of power wants to. Bribery is the norm, is the culture. Because we don't care about our community, we don't care about our country, but we're quite happy to visit other people's country and feel comfortable and enjoy it, and then we go back home and it's not fun. We create ridiculous gates to lock ourselves inside. You see the people in government, they have so much security riding around them because they haven't given the people anything. I visited Morocco and it was peaceful. Young people, everyone's busy. This place has become a huge tourist destination. And a country like Nigeria is not thinking like that. Without the natural resources there, we're not thinking at all. Instead, we're thinking, how much can I steal from any position of power? Whatever position they give me, this is where I will earn from. Where a man walks, there he eats. Let's not contribute anything to the community. And so let's keep all those young boys unemployed. So as we keep them unemployed, we arm them with guns so that we can use them as instruments of destruction. And then whenever anyone wants to speak up, they send the young boys, go and assassinate that one, go and kill that one. We don't want to hear anything. But all we could have done is create an enabling environment for everyone to be comfortable. The same thing that's happening in the West can happen in Africa, can happen in Nigeria. It could be a peaceful country where we all come to and have fun and be happy. We could have series of airports where our children will walk in. We could have well laid out roads. It's the same thing, air and land. There is no place that cannot be developed. So governments lie. Nigerian government is even one of the worst. I know so many other governments lie. Even the British government lie. But you need to know that they're lying. And you need to start thinking, what can I do that can create a better environment for my community? So the next set of people that lie, which I love talking about all the time, is the Western civilization. Western civilization? This is where this book comes in, and I know I've shown it in another video. Miseducation of the Negro. Especially us black people. Western civilization has been lying to us since slavery. How many years has slavery been in place? So what they did was, they basically, I've done a video on that already, they cleaned out our way of thinking and replaced it with nonsense, such that we now got to a stage where we do not value our own anymore. And I know so many Africans who will not be seen wearing African clothes, who will not be seen eating African food. In the system that I live in, you will not see anywhere. This is children in school. Our black children are in school here. But there is no school that's teaching African history. Why? Because they know if they probably teach our children African history, there will be heroes and there will be heroines, and there will be so much civilization that happened in Africa, and this will empower our children, and they will grow up with knowledge, and they will grow up with strength, and they will grow up with information, and they will grow up with superiority in who they are. No. I call it instruments of propaganda. They use this education system to clean out their head. They start teaching them things. King Henry VIII, King blah blah blah, King George, King this, King that, who beheaded his wives. What has that got to do with society? What has that got to do with giving the children their history so they know who they are? No, the only thing you see that's on the TVs in the Western world on Africa is negative news. Oh, you should have seen when Ebola was reigning. Every news network, Ebola has killed how many million people? Ebola, people from here, people from there. And then they were busy going around town and interviewing Africans. Would you go back to your country? Oh, no, I never go back there. And I traveled that same time to Nigeria, and I never saw nobody with Ebola. So, propaganda to create inferiority, to create sadness, to create poverty, to create anything that they can create in the minds of our children, so we become helpless. These are all lies. So, if you are a parent watching me now, it is important that you start teaching your children about your African history. And I'm saying this very clearly because I know so many African parents who say to me in my face, I would never go back to that continent again. You don't know what you're doing. I can tell you that. You don't know what you're doing. Do you remember in the Bible when the Israelites ended up in Egypt? Do you then know what happened? How God had to send Moses to come and take them back home? And how today you and I talking, Philistines and and the Israelites are still fighting. Why? The chosen land. This is our chosen land. God gave us this land. How did this whole history start? Children ended up in a different place. Children of Israelites. Now God had to go and get them back. As they came back, the different people had occupied the land. What then happened? They still war till today. This is what will happen if you African don't want to teach your child about your African roots, and then God forbid we all end up coming over to the West and somebody takes over our land, and then somehow, somewhere, God says, oh, you go get back these Africans to go back to their country or continent, and then it becomes war forever. That's not where we want to be. Because now I know about Africa, I am African, born and bred, and then I will not teach my children about my history because, why? That's what slavery has done to us. So let's start thinking. Let's clean out this nonsense of Western civilization. It's a whole lot of nonsense. If they could do that to our parents, then fine. Our great-great-grandparents, then fine. Because as usual, they use their arms and force themselves on people and take as much as they can from you. That's not what's going to happen anymore. We need to start thinking. We need to empower our people with knowledge. It is time to question more. Anybody trying to mess up with your thinking, tell the person, no. I have a mind. I have a brain. God gave me senses. You have 5 senses. Use them. Sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of taste. These senses is where your power is. Use your senses. And when somebody starts to tell you something that does not add up, you question more. Start thinking. When that book was written, Think and Grow Rich, maybe people thought, oh yeah, you just think right now you grow rich. No, it's for you to use your knowledge and add 2 and 2 and see if it makes 4. If this 2 and 2 makes 3, no, something is not right. Let me think about it. Give me this night to think. It goes far enough to explain to us how we've been misled, misinformed, miseducated, so we would think that we are the ignorant people. It's all been well orchestrated. So we need to pull out of that ignorance and start thinking. So let's start thinking. And books that will begin to expose these things to you is, I've got quite a few of them. This one says, On People, Britain's Secret to Human Rights Abuses. So if you're into reading, books like this will help you. Why Nations Fail, to tell you how they've been lying to us. Waging the war. Yeah, so Web of Deceit, The Destruction of Black Civilization. These are just books that begin to expose this thing that's been going on for centuries. Brainwashed, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, The Great Deception, Brainwashing Britain, and so many more that I have that I didn't just bother to bring. But once you start getting into the swing of knowing what the real truth is of our situation, you will begin to see that it is time we start thinking and waking up to who we are. And this book, Miseducation, really exposes so much of it. Now, remember what I've said about you knowing who you are. This melanin book really helps as well for you to start thinking in that strength. And again, Dr. Africa explained this African holistic health and nutritional destruction of black people. So the war hasn't been today. It's been a continuous thing going on. And the sooner we understand what we are dealing with, the better for all of us. It's not something you just sit down there and moan and moan and moan. If you know something that will help your people, do it. Work on it. And so the next set of people that I call liars is this so-called online experts. So we're talking about this knowledge revolution and technology revolution and all of that. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, you see every person comes and say, do you want to get rich? Because I know this. If you buy this program, you are going, look at all the people I have trained and they are so rich and all of that. Please, please, please. Please. They are lying to you. They are lying. And I can tell you why I know. Because I have invested money into these things. I have. Ignorance, what you don't know, you don't know. I thought, yeah, they're making sense. Yes. What if? I like technology. Yeah, what if? And I put so much money into it. You don't want to know how much. They all came to nothing. I mean, there's a group because most of these events, when we come back, we set up groups and we talk. There was one I did on property. Oh, yeah. By the time I'm done with you, you'll be a property millionaire. Seriously? You don't want to know about legislation on property in this country, in the West. You don't want to know about the rules and the regulations and all the hula hoops you're going to jump over, and then the amount of money you have to bring in, and then this is the law. You shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. If you're not ready, don't go into it. If you don't have the extra cash sitting down there doing nothing, do not waste your money on these so-called events. Because what they do, they pull you in with £2,000, £3,000, 4-day course, £5,000. Then when you get in, then they talk lots of nonsense. And then they say, if you want to get to know better, if you want to get really rich, come and invest into it. And then they start quoting £20,000, £30,000. And I will make you rich. Because this person that invested £50,000, I made him get 5 million. And so you stupidly, ignorantly put your money in. And your money starts to disappear. People sell their houses. And then they end up with nothing. And this is where God tells us clearly, my people suffer for lack of knowledge. It's our ignorance that's our problem. What you need is your skill in your hands. Start with your skill. Invest in knowledge. Knowledge of, I want to know how to. How to. That's what you want to invest in. How to. And I've given lists of things that your community needs. I did a video on serve your community. How to serve your community. That's what you want to know. You want to know what your community needs. That's what rich people do. They look at us, they go, oh, these people would need this. They go and get that. These people would need, let's even make it as simple as possible. Every community takes showers, right? We go to the bathroom, we take a shower. Somebody is selling that soap to us. Your community needs that. Everybody eats, right? And then maybe, let's even break it down to the lowest. They need salt to put in that soup they're going to make. Somebody is selling that salt. Somebody is selling the pepper. Somebody is selling the rice that we eat. Let's go away from food. Let's say hair. Somebody is selling the hair extensions. Let's say beauty. Somebody is selling that cream that you rub on your body. Do you see how it comes down to the lowest of lows? So there is always something needed in your community. Be the one supplying it. Supply what your community needs. Don't waste your energy chasing shadows, chasing crazy people who don't even want to know you. I know that, there are times where you may be the best at something and your community doesn't want to know it. Yeah, especially in the Western world, what we have found out is black people will not buy from their own people. Why? Because we think we're not good enough for ourselves. That's what miseducation teaches. It says, because we've gone to some school that they messed up our brain, we lose touch with our community. Go back to your community. You see, the Jews, they don't buy from anyone else. They only buy in their community. That's why people say, oh, the Jews are so rich. Because they know the community needs everything. We all know our community needs everything. We need food, we need clothes, we need beauty, we need knowledge, we need information, we need guidance, we need everything. Every community needs everything. Somebody needs to provide those things. It could be you. It could be me. We could buy from each other. And if we do that, we leave that money within. So instead of allowing ourselves to be lied to be misinformed, to be misled, to be miseducated, to be made to feel small, to be made to feel inferior, to be made to feel out of place, we need to start thinking. We need to start innovating for our community. We need to start inventing for our community. We need to start giving support to our community. So these are the things I want us to start thinking about. Let's start thinking. I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to share this video with your friends. Remember to give us a thumbs up. I love thumbs up. It just shows that I'm doing something good. I'm contributing to my community. Remember to like us. Remember to follow us on all our social media, because there's always something happening. My commitment right now is to serve my community. So anything I know, I will bring it here and I will share it with you. And in so many other formats too. Because if I don't give it and it's in me, what am I using it for? The time I spend reading all these books is to educate my people as well. So the more we share, the better we'll get. Remember what the Bible said. The more you give, the more you receive. It's not about you going to church and giving tithe. That's not how it works. The more you give to your community, the more it comes back to you. So thank you so much, and I love to chat with you, and I love you to bits. God bless you abundantly, and see you in the next video.